Your thoughts alone can build your reality or tear it down. Think of a time you were convinced you would fail at something, and then you did, or a moment you felt truly lucky, and opportunities seemed to fall into your lap. This is not mere coincidence. It is a glimpse into one of the most powerful and ancient laws governing existence, a principle known as the Law of Mentalism. This foundational rule from the Hermetic teachings states that the entire universe is, at its core, a mental creation. By the end of this exploration, you will understand how to consciously use this law to shape the world you experience every single day. We will uncover how something as intangible as a thought can form solid matter, and why your mind is far more than a passive observer. What single belief about yourself might be shaping your life right now? This profound idea that the universe is a mental creation did not emerge from modern self-help books. It comes from a timeless and enigmatic text known as the Kybalion. For centuries, seekers of wisdom have turned to this book for its distilled insights into the nature of reality. Its origins are purposefully shrouded in mystery, authored only by the cryptic title, The Three Initiates. Who these individuals were remains unknown, a deliberate choice that points not to a single person but to a lineage of knowledge passed down through the ages. The wisdom within the Kybalion is attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a legendary sage of ancient Egypt often seen as the father of all philosophy and science. His teachings form the bedrock of Hermeticism, and the Kybalion serves as its central, guiding text. At the heart of this philosophy are 7 immutable principles, 7 keys meant to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos. These are the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. Each one interlocks with the next, creating a complete and cohesive system for understanding everything from the vastness of the galaxies to the inner workings of your own mind. And standing above them all, the very first principle is the Law of Mentalism. It is the foundation. Without grasping that the universe is mental, that thought is the primary substance of all things, the other 6 principles cannot be fully understood. They all rest upon this one fundamental truth. So as we explore these ancient keys, hold this question in your mind. What if your thoughts are not just visitors in your head, but the very architects of your world? This single phrase, the all is mind, holds the entire secret. It sounds deceptively simple, yet it contains a universe of meaning. So what exactly is the all? It is not a distant god in the sky, nor is it a cold, mechanical force. The all is the ultimate, living, infinite reality. It is the one and only true substance, the source from which everything else springs. It is conscious, it is intelligent, and its very nature is pure mind. Think of it not as a thing that has a mind, but as mind itself. It is the infinite thinker. Now, if the all is pure mind, then what is the universe we see, touch, and live in? The Kybalion teaches that the entire cosmos is a mental creation within this infinite mind. Everything you perceive, from the screen you are looking at to the very air you breathe, exists as a thought, an idea within this ultimate consciousness. This is the core of the Law of Mentalism. Reality, at its most fundamental level, is not solid matter. It is a thought. It is an idea being held in the mind of the all. This is why the universe is described as being mental. It does not mean the world is an illusion. Your experiences are very real to you, but it does mean that the underlying substance of your experiences is mental, not physical. The chair you sit on is real, but its ultimate origin is a thought in the infinite mind. Your own consciousness is a smaller, individualized expression of that same infinite mind. You are, in a very real sense, a thought thinking thoughts within the great thought. This changes everything about how you perceive your own power. If the universe is a mental creation, then your personal reality is also your own mental creation. Your thoughts are not just fleeting electrical impulses. They are the primary substance, the building blocks of the world you experience. They are the tools you use to sculpt your life, often without you even realizing it. So the next time you have a thought, any thought, pause for just a moment. Are you merely observing your world, or are you actively participating in its creation? This dream you are having right now feels completely real. You can see, hear, and feel everything within it. The people you meet have their own personalities, the world has its own rules, and events unfold with a sense of absolute certainty. Yet the moment you wake up, you realize it was all a creation of your own mind. Nothing in that dream was solid matter, it was all thought, all mental energy. The Hermetic Principle asks us to consider that our waking reality operates on a very similar principle. The universe itself is like a vast, shared, and infinitely complex dream within the mind of the all. The screen you are looking at, the sound of my voice, the very sensation of gravity holding you in your chair, all of it is a manifestation of this universal consciousness. It is a mental construct. This does not mean you should walk through life thinking nothing is real. The experience is utterly real, just as your dreams feel real while you are in them. But the underlying substance, the fundamental stuff of reality, is not physical particles. It is thought. Another way to visualize this is to think of an incredibly advanced virtual reality simulation. In such a simulation, everything is made of code. A mountain is not a solid mass of rock. It is a complex set of data points and algorithms that create the perfect illusion of a mountain. The wind you feel is not moving air, it is a programmed sensory output. The entire experience is built upon information. Our universe, according to the law of mentalism, is built the same way, with consciousness itself as the fundamental code. Physical matter, energy, even the concepts of time and space are not the ultimate reality. They are the outputs, the rendered graphics of a deeper mental process. When you understand this, the solid world begins to feel a little more fluid, a little more malleable. Your own mind is a localized point of this same universal consciousness, meaning you are not just a user in this simulation, you are a co-creator within the dream. So the next time you look at a tree or hold a cup of coffee, pause and sense the thought behind the form. What might become possible when you truly know that the world is not as solid as it seems? A cup feels solid in your hand, its weight and texture undeniable. Yet the law of mentalism tells us its ultimate substance is thought. So where is the line between the mental universe and our physical experience? The distinction is not in the substance, but in the level of consciousness perceiving it. The universal mind, the all, holds the entire cosmic thought. Your individual mind is a focal point within that vast consciousness, a unique perspective experiencing a specific part of the grand dream. You are not separate from the source, you are an expression of it, like a single wave rising from the ocean. Your personal mind, with its thoughts and perceptions, is your individual tool for interacting with this mental cosmos. It is the lens through which you interpret and shape the universal energy into your personal reality. This is where the so-called illusion of the physical world takes form. The world is not an illusion in the sense of being fake, but in the sense that its apparent solidity is a result of our collective agreement within the dream. We have all, on some deep level, agreed to the rules of this shared experience, rules like gravity and time. Your thoughts are the active force that continually molds this universal mental energy into the forms you recognize. When you hold a belief, for instance, that life is a struggle, your mind vibrates at that frequency. It then attracts and solidifies experiences from the mental field that match that belief, making struggle a tangible part of your physical reality. You are not a victim of a random material world. You are a participant artist, using your thoughts as the brush to paint on the canvas of universal mind. The cup is real because the universal mind holds its idea, and your mind agrees to experience its solidity. But what happens when you change the agreement? What happens when you decide to paint with a different color of thought? That cup in your hand, a solid object in your physical world, was first a thought in your mind. You decided you wanted a drink, and your mind directed your body to make it happen. This simple, everyday act is a tiny, perfect demonstration of the immense creative power you hold. If the entire cosmos is a mental creation, then your personal thoughts are not just passive reflections of your world. They are active, creative forces, the very chisels you use to sculpt your personal reality, your circumstances, and your deepest experiences. Your mind is not a mirror, it is a projector. Every belief you hold, every persistent thought you nurture, is a command you are giving to the universe. It is an instruction on what to materialize next in your life. Think of your mind as a master gardener. The universal mental field is the soil, rich with infinite potential. Your thoughts are the seeds you choose to plant. A thought of gratitude is a seed for a flower. A thought of resentment is a seed for a weed. You cannot plant a thorn bush and expect to harvest roses. Your external world, the garden you walk through every day, is simply the physical manifestation of the seeds you have been planting, often without even realizing it. This is why two people can experience the same event, like losing a job, and have completely different realities unfold. One who holds the thought of failure and despair sees a catastrophe. Their mental command solidifies into a reality of struggle and closed doors. The other, who holds the thought of opportunity and a new beginning, sees a redirection. Their mental command attracts new possibilities, unexpected meetings, and a better path. The event was the same, but the thoughts about the event created two entirely different worlds. So ask yourself this right now: what kind of garden are you tending with your thoughts? Are you planting seeds of limitation or seeds of possibility? The world you wake up to tomorrow is being designed by the thoughts you are thinking today. Our entire modern world is largely built upon a materialist foundation. This is the belief that physical matter is the fundamental reality, that your consciousness is merely a byproduct of the chemical reactions in your brain, and that the universe is a vast, mindless machine. From this perspective, you are essentially a passive passenger in a cosmos of random chance and predetermined physical laws. Your thoughts are seen as fleeting epiphenomena, insignificant sparks in a dark, uncaring void. This worldview has driven incredible scientific progress, yet it often leaves a profound sense of emptiness, a feeling that our inner lives, our hopes and dreams, are ultimately meaningless in a universe of cold, hard atoms. The Law of Mentalism presents a radical and liberating alternative. It proposes a complete inversion of this hierarchy. It states that mind is not a product of matter, but that matter is a product of mind. Consciousness is not emerging from your brain. Your brain is a manifestation of consciousness, a receiver and transmitter for the infinite mind. This is not a small philosophical tweak. It is a paradigm shift that changes everything. When you adopt this mentalist perspective, you are no longer a powerless passenger on a runaway train. You become the engineer. Your thoughts are no longer meaningless noise. They are the primary causal agents in shaping your experience. A challenge is no longer an immovable wall of brick and mortar. It is a dense cluster of thought energy that your own mind can learn to reconfigure. The scientific debate between these two views is one of the most profound in history. Materialism points to the predictable laws of physics, while mentalism asks a deeper question: what are the laws of physics but consistent thoughts in a universal mind? Quantum physics, in particular, has shaken the materialist foundation, suggesting that the act of observation itself influences reality, that particles exist in a state of potential until a conscious mind interacts with them. This sounds remarkably similar to the ancient Hermetic idea that the universe is a mental construct awaiting our perception to give it final form. Adopting this mentalist lens fundamentally alters your approach to life. If your reality is mental first, then every problem begins in the mind and can be solved there. financial lack is not just an empty bank account, it is the outward manifestation of a deep-seated belief in scarcity. A difficult relationship is not just a clash of personalities, it is a conflict of entrenched mental patterns. The solution, then, is not to fight the physical reflection but to change the mental source. You do not simply demand more money, you cultivate the inner feeling of abundance and watch as your mental command reorganizes the physical world to match it. You do not just argue with the other person, you shift your own mental vibration about the relationship and observe as the dynamic itself begins to transform. This shift moves you from a life of reaction to a life of creation. It bestows not just hope but a tangible methodology. The world stops happening to you and starts happening through you. What new reality might you begin to construct once you know you are holding the only tool that truly matters? The real power of this law is unlocked not in theory but in daily practice. It begins with a simple yet profound shift from being a passenger of your thoughts to becoming their master. The first and most critical step is to cultivate conscious thinking. Right now, your mind is likely filled with a constant stream of thoughts, a mental radio chattering away in the background. Most of these thoughts are automatic, repetitive echoes of old beliefs and past experiences. You have been planting seeds in your mental garden without even looking at the packets. Conscious thinking is the act of finally turning on the light in the garden shed and reading every single label. It is the practice of mindfulness, of simply observing your thoughts without immediately getting swept away by them. For the next few days, make it a gentle mission to notice your mental chatter. When you are stuck in traffic, what is the narrative playing in your head? Is it one of frustration and stress, or can you observe that reaction without letting it define your entire morning? This is not about suppressing thoughts, but about recognizing them as visitors you can choose to entertain or politely usher out. As you observe, you will start to see patterns. You might discover a recurring thought that you are not good enough or a persistent worry about money. These are the deep-rooted seeds that have been shaping your reality for years. The moment you bring them into the light of your awareness, they begin to lose their hidden power over you. The next technique is to introduce mental discipline. Once you can observe a thought, you gain the power to question it. Is this thought absolutely true? Is it serving me? Is it building the reality I wish to live in? If the answer is no, you can consciously choose a new thought. This feels awkward at first, like trying to write with your non-dominant hand. You might be observing a thought of lack, and you consciously try to replace it with a feeling of abundance. Your own mind will rebel, calling it a lie, but you are not lying. You are simply selecting a different seed to plant, one that will eventually bear better fruit. Start small. Dedicate just 5 minutes each morning to sitting in silence, focusing only on your breath. When a thought arises, acknowledge it and gently return your focus to your breathing. This is the most basic gym workout for your mind, strengthening your ability to direct your own attention. Throughout your day, set gentle alarms to pause and ask, what am I thinking right now? What reality am I building in this very moment? This consistent, gentle observation is the foundation. It is how you stop being a victim of your own mental autopilot and start taking the controls. What long-hidden thought pattern might you discover once you truly begin to listen? Your mind's eye is the most powerful workshop you will ever own. This is the art of visualization, a deliberate and focused form of thought that acts as a blueprint for your reality. It is the difference between randomly scattering seeds in your mental garden and carefully planting a specific flower with the full expectation that it will bloom. Visualization is not merely daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is the active, sensory-rich process of constructing an experience in the mental plane, impressing it upon the universal mind with such clarity, and feeling that its manifestation in the physical world becomes the next logical step. You are not just thinking about a goal, you are building its energetic prototype. Close your eyes for a moment and picture something simple, like biting into a fresh, juicy lemon. Can you taste the sharp tang on your tongue? Did you just feel a slight pucker in your mouth? Your body responded to a thought, a mental creation, as if it were a physical event. This is the principle in its purest form. Your nervous system and the universal field do not strongly distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one. Both carry the same creative command, so how do you move from passive thinking to active creation? Begin with a clear and specific desire. Do not just think, "I want more money." That is a vague concept, a blurry photograph. Instead, construct a scene. See yourself opening your bank statement on your screen, feeling the genuine surge of relief and joy as you read the new, higher balance. Hear the sound of your own happy sigh. Feel the weight of your shoulders relaxing. You must inject the scene with emotion, for emotion is the energy that brings the mental picture to life. A thought without feeling is a seed without water. It might remain dormant in the soil for a very long time, but a thought charged with the palpable sensation of already having your desire, that is a command the universe cannot ignore. It begins to rearrange the physical circumstances to match the reality you are holding so clearly in your mind. This practice requires more than a one-time effort. You are impressing a new pattern upon a substance that is used to your old patterns. It is like trying to carve a new riverbed for a stream that has flowed the same way for years. This is why consistency is your greatest ally. Dedicate a few quiet minutes each day to this mental rehearsal. Do not do it with a sense of desperate wanting, but with the calm certainty of someone who is remembering a future that is already on its way. You are not begging for a new reality, you are aligning yourself with it. The outer world is always a lagging indicator, a delayed reflection of your inner world. Your consistent, felt visualizations are the most direct way to update that reflection. What detailed scene will you build in your mind's workshop today, and what powerful emotion will you use to bring it to life? The most formidable obstacle you will ever face is not in the world around you, but in the silent architecture of your own mind. Limiting beliefs are the invisible walls built from the bricks of past experiences, criticisms, and fears. They are mental constructs, nothing more than deeply ingrained thought patterns that you have accepted as absolute truth. A belief that you are not smart enough, not worthy of love, or destined to struggle financially is not a physical law of the universe. It is a story, a single narrative you have been telling yourself so many times that the mental energy has solidified into a seemingly unbreakable structure in your reality. The first step in dismantling these walls is to bring a flashlight into the dark corners of your own consciousness. You must become a detective of your own thoughts. When you feel a surge of anxiety about applying for a new job, pause and ask, what is the core belief driving this fear? Is it "I am not qualified" or "I will be rejected"? When you hesitate to ask for what you want in a relationship, what silent assumption is at play? Is it "I do not deserve this level of kindness"? Write these beliefs down. Seeing them on paper separates them from you, transforming a vague, internal monster into a specific, manageable statement you can examine under the light of reason. This act of identification is the beginning of your power. You are not your beliefs, you are the awareness that holds them. Once a limiting belief is identified, you can begin the process of mental reprogramming. This is the conscious rewriting of your internal code. It is not enough to simply say the opposite. That feels like a lie because the old neural pathway is a well-worn superhighway and the new thought is a faint deer trail. You must build a new road with consistent traffic. Start by challenging the old belief with evidence from your own life. If you believe you always fail, find 3 instances where you succeeded, no matter how small. This begins to weaken the old structure. Then craft a new, empowering belief statement. Do not use vague future tense like "I will be successful." Write it as a present tense fact, as if it is already true. I am capable and resourceful. I am worthy of abundance. My voice matters. Repeat this new statement to yourself daily, especially during your quiet meditation moments. But repetition alone is not enough. You must pair it with emotional alchemy. Emotional alchemy is the transformative process of taking the heavy, leaden energy of a negative emotion and transmuting it into the gold of a positive feeling. When the old fear of unworthiness arises, do not fight it. Acknowledge the feeling fully, feel its weight in your body, then consciously choose to shift the emotion. Recall a memory where you felt truly confident and loved. Dive into that memory, relive the sensory details, and let the new, positive feeling flood your system. You are literally replacing the emotional charge of the old belief with a new, more powerful frequency. You are not erasing the past, you are changing the mental and emotional energy you have attached to it. This is how you stop being a prisoner of your history and become the architect of your future. The walls in your mind were built one thought at a time, and they can be dismantled the same way. What old story are you ready to rewrite, and what new power will you claim when its final brick falls away? This law is not reserved for philosophers or mystics. It is a practical tool for your everyday world. Consider your relationships. Every interaction is a meeting of minds, a subtle exchange of mental energy. When you approach a conversation with an underlying thought of suspicion or defensiveness, you are mentally commanding the other person to fulfill that expectation. Their energy will often mirror yours, creating the very tension you feared. But if you consciously shift your inner state to one of openness and genuine curiosity, you send out a different command. You create a mental space where understanding, rather than conflict, can naturally take root. The other person may soften, not because you manipulated them, but because you changed the fundamental mental substance of the encounter. Your career is another powerful arena for this principle. The thought "I am stuck in this job" is a mental command that solidifies stagnation. It builds invisible walls around you. The thought "new opportunities are seeking me out" is a command that opens your awareness to possibilities you would have otherwise missed. It is not about positive thinking alone, but about changing the core frequency of your mind. When you mentally embody the feeling of being a valuable, sought-after professional, you begin to act, speak, and carry yourself differently. People sense this shift in your energy, and the physical world of job offers and collaborations begins to reorganize itself to match your new internal blueprint. Your physical health is deeply intertwined with your mental state. A body is a dense cluster of energy, constantly receiving instructions from the mind. Chronic stress, rooted in persistent thoughts of worry and anxiety, is a powerful mental command that tells your body to remain in a state of high alert. Over time, this command manifests as tension, fatigue, and illness. Conversely, a mind cultivated with thoughts of peace and trust sends a command for the body to relax, to heal, to find its natural balance. This is not to say that all illness is created by thought, but that your mental atmosphere is a primary factor in your body's resilience and vitality. Even your simplest personal goals are shaped this way. The desire to learn a new skill often hits a wall of the thought, "I am not a natural at this." That single belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, ensuring the struggle continues. But by shifting the internal narrative to "I am capable of learning anything with patience," you dissolve the mental barrier. The practice becomes easier, not because the task changed, but because the mind commanding the hands and the focus has been liberated from its own limitation. A consistent mentalist practice weaves a subtle magic into the fabric of your days. The constant noise of external chaos begins to quiet because you know you are not its victim. You are its co-creator. Stress diminishes not because problems vanish, but because your relationship to them transforms. You meet challenges not as immovable objects, but as malleable mental formations that you have the innate tools to reshape. This is the ultimate personal agency, the quiet understanding that you are, in every moment, using the most powerful force in the universe, your own conscious thought, to paint the world you live in. What new command will you issue to the universe today? The world you experience is your own masterpiece in progress, a living sculpture shaped by the chisel of your mind. We have journeyed through the profound truth of the law of mentalism, the ancient key that reveals the entire cosmos as a mental creation. This is not a passive philosophy, but an active call to creation. You have learned that the universe is not a cold, mechanical object, but a vibrant, thinking substance. You have seen how your personal mind is a focal point of this infinite consciousness, a co-creator endowed with the power to mold this mental energy into your personal reality. Every belief you hold is a command, every persistent thought a seed you plant in the fertile field of universal mind. Your outer world, with all its circumstances and relationships, is simply the harvest of those deeply planted seeds. This knowledge shifts you from being a passenger in your own life to becoming the pilot. You are no longer at the mercy of random chance, but the conscious architect of your days. The power to build a new reality has always been with you, resting quietly between your ears. Now the theory must become practice. Your great experiment begins today. Choose one area of your life, just one, where you feel stuck or dissatisfied. It could be your morning mood, your confidence in a specific situation, or a recurring financial worry. For the next 7 days, apply these principles with gentle dedication. Start each morning with 5 minutes of conscious stillness, observing your thoughts without judgment. Then introduce a new mental command. If you wish to feel more peace, spend a few moments vividly imagining a deep, unshakable calm flowing through you, feeling its weight and warmth as if it were already true. When the old, limiting thought arises, acknowledge it, thank it for its input, and consciously choose the new, empowering belief. Watch closely as your outer world begins, in its own time and in its own way, to rearrange itself around your new internal blueprint. You are the artist and the universe is your canvas. Share your journey in the comments below. Tell us about the walls you have begun to dismantle and the new realities you are starting to build. Your story is a vital part of this collective awakening, a beacon for others discovering their own creative power. The only question that remains is, what will you choose to create next?